Oh, sad to be leaving, but I thought I would do a quick kind of run through on all the things that I try and double check before I hit the road. Because there's a lot of things that I've already destroyed and things that are safety precautions that are important to know. Number one, first, I go around after I'm done and I make sure that all the pilot lights that don't need to be on are knocked out. So for me, that's usually just the hot water heater. And then I will also turn the furnace down to the off position. So as long as it's in the off position, it should not kick on when it's any kind of, like it's just too warm in here for it to kick on. This is kind of what the inside looks like when I got it all bunkered down. So the few things that need to be put away go either down there in the middle. I try to top load all the weight up to the front of the trailer. And then I also go through and secure with bungee cords the majority of the cabinets with anything heavy in it or anything that could fly out and cause some damage. So I've got this one secured. I've got little bungees on each cabinet, and then one up here for the kitchen stuff. The other thing that I do, because usually I've just used the bathroom before I'm leaving, so I'll go ahead and leave the fan on because I'm plugged into my car for power, and I'll leave that top hatch open about halfway. That way I can continue to circulate some air and get all the humidity out of the bathroom. Just prevention of mold and stuff like that over time. I think that's probably the right move. So that's pretty much it. I make sure that everything has a home, that it's secured, and that there's no way if I were to come to an abrupt stop or something that anything's gonna fly out. So as it sits now, I'm pretty secure inside. Oh, short of this one. And then we gotta double check all the actual hitch stuff. So it's really important. A couple of things. Oh, the other things I check inside the windows, and that's because I've already fudged that one up. Twice now I've peeled out with this window wide open. Second time I screwed up the blinds. I lost the screen mesh on the inside, flew out on the highway. The window was just dangling, flying open. It kind of bent the rod a little bit. So unfortunately, you know, double checking your windows, making sure everything's secured is really important before you bounce. Otherwise, you're going to end up like me and have to replace the window. So when it comes to hitching up, number one, once you drop the ball down, I make sure that this little piece, which sits securely underneath the ball, is latched down. So if it's up or in, that's bad news. So make sure that's down. That means that the ball is secure. Second thing I double check is the pin that is holding the actual hitch in. I make sure that its piece is still on there and that it's securely in. So once those two things are secured, you can go ahead and plug up your power source, which charges your battery. And usually I have to jack this up just a little bit, depending on what kind of an angle I'm on, in order to get the sway bars attached. So last but not least, you plug in your sway bars, drag them across. It depends on the temperature, whether I can get it on the 4th chain link or the 3rd, and also what angle I'm on. So I found if I use this jack to kind of boost the whole thing up about 2 or 3 inches, it helps getting the sway bar secured on the fourth chain link, which is really tight, but I feel like that's probably what you want. That's the whole point of the sway bar, is to keep it from going crazy behind you. So I like it being tighter than not tight. I can always replace a chain if something were to break, but I don't think it will. So what else? The last thing, which these should always be like this, but just in case, you know, once I did go down to my tanks and I noticed I had failed to plug the black and the gray tank after the last dump, which made dumping the second time a little bit more difficult, but I just make sure that each valve is pressed in. That means that you're not going to lose your shit on the highway. Literally, propane can continue to be on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then of course check your lights and your blinkers. So my lights are off right now, but that's pretty much what I do. You can see how high that vent is popped up. I have had several people stop me on the highway and be like, hey, your roof is up, your vent is up, thinking it's gonna fly off or whatever. It really doesn't fly off, but seeing it out here, I can imagine why people are paranoid. So maybe I'll drop that down just a little bit more. And that's it. I do a final walkthrough, make sure everything is secured, make sure the tires look good. Oh, see, right here. Because the last thing I want is my items flying out on the highway again. So there you have it. That's kind of my rundown of what to do before you pack up and take off. All right, peace, y'all.